Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Liberation of Undermine Skate Better tier list. This is for our fifth CE, which is awesome. I'm very proud of everyone who's been here the whole time and everyone who's joined us in the recent months, recent tiers, whatever it is. In the past, we've had our wonderful G Quit draw us some hand drawn things, but I am no artist. So instead, I have leaned on the help of some artificial intelligence to help out with the artistic part of this. Hopefully, you guys enjoy what I came up with. I tried to make them all a little personal to each of you, but if you don't like yours, that's too fucking bad because I thought they were all funny. So, without further ado, let's get started. First up, we've got Don, who had some terrible internet this tier. So here we can see an internet robot beating up his scarecrow rogue. Despite the internet problems, Don is a trooper this tier. He didn't really let that get him too frustrated. We had to bench him a handful of times, and he understood and didn't really complain about it. And while he was trying to swap to Voger here at the end of the tier, he was really cool with letting me just bench him a lot because our team comp was a little weird. We had a bunch of individual raid buffs, and survival hunter who's cracked, and then a pile of rogues and warriors. So I had to bench somebody, and he was willing to take one for the team and sit down for a handful of fights just because we knew we were swapping off. So that's super awesome. Good teammate for us doing that. So Don, because of all of that, let's get you added on here. Everyone's going to start in C tier, and then we'll kind of go from there. So I think because you were such a team player with the roster and everything, that I would move you up to B tier. But because your internet fucking sucked for our online video game, I gotta move you right back down to C tier, man. You're just gonna have to hang out there. We gotta maybe next year your internet will be a little bit better. Hopefully. All right, moving on to our next person, and these are in no particular order. I just started writing one day. This is the order I'm in. So next we have Galabon. This is what I believe Galabon cosplaying his character in game would look like. And of course, he's hanging out at the bar with his wonderful waifus of his choice. Ugh. Galabon has been with us a super long time. He's always been a consistent player, and we love having him here. The gotcha game addiction, always has me a little worried from laying on the ground after wipes. We know you're spinning the wheel, man. Come on. To not knowing enough about certain fights. We were, no, I didn't tell anyone. I think I maybe told one or two people this, but I'm going to air you out now, Galopon. We were about 75 pulls into Bandit, and we were having some damage issues, and we were looking it through the logs, and everyone had pretty reasonable uptime on the coin buff, except one person. One person was really low, and then we were like, who could that be? Well, it was Galopon, and so I DM'd him, and I said, hey man, you gotta do better about the coin. And he says something on the lines of, oh, I thought it was random. Brother, I about lost my shit. We That's like one of the harder bosses in the raid, and you didn't know about the buff that makes you do more damage. It's a DPS boosting mechanic. How do you not know? I didn't give too much shit at the time, but man, I was disappointed, Galabon. And because of that, and the crippling addiction to anime waifus, you are unfortunately gonna have to go straight down into the pancake tier, my guy. Very sorry, but you earned it. You earned it. Okay, we're gonna move on. Next, let's see here. I gotta navigate all this. Next, we have our wonderful holy pally Azoth. Uh, Azoth does a lot of traveling, does a lot of hotel playing, and so what we have here is Azoth on a plane trying to make raid. I wasn't sure if I wanted to put this in a plane or a hotel, but I thought the idea of a paladin jammed into an airplane was funny, so here we are. Azoth has been awesome for us this tier. He has played a ton of Ret when he doesn't really want to. He's done a lot of the immunity mechanics, and playing on the road, playing from hotels with shitty internet and on a laptop, I know is a pain in the ass, and we really appreciate that, especially with how fluid our roster was at the beginning of the tier, and how light we were on healers at the end. So he's been an asset for us in that regard, and that extends all the way back into Ansarek. He was a team player back then too. So for this tier and a little bit of last tier, Azoth, you are going to you're going to get moved up to A tier. Thank you very much for being a team player and always being willing to do what we need you to do, even if it's not what you want to do. That is too valuable for us. Okay, moving on. Oh my god, I'm blind. There we go. All right. Next up is Janshi. This is Janshi's undead monk with a rotting brain, symbolizing what being around Tim for too long will do to someone. I imagine this is how Janshi's brain looks underneath his curly hair. Janshi came back to us this tier after a little bit of a break in Nerebar, and he came back at a very opportune time. We had lost quite a few people at the end of last year, and him and Buddha and Chi-Chi decided that they were ready to play the game again, and they were a big boost to our depleted roster, and so that was great timing, and we're very grateful for that. Um, Having him here, though, it is a consistent battle to try to keep him from tilting. I know that that tilt just comes from a place of wanting to win and be the best that he can, and I can respect that. I can trust him when we're in raid that he's going to do what needs to be done to kill the boss and not accept anything less than his best. So that's always a good mentality to have on your team. But he definitely also wears his emotions on his sleeve. I don't know if everyone remembers the Rep Pally trial we had vodka, but we were really, really light on numbers at the time, and Janji was very much like, nah, fuck this guy, get him out of here in his trial thread. And at that same time, the officers were talking about how he's like, this trial's got a good attitude, he's playing ethical, he may not be the best, but like, we need him. So we were having the opposite opinion, and so I set aside some time with him so that I could sit down and talk to him and make sure that that situation wasn't gonna blow up and get him all pissed off at us. And like a day before we were supposed to talk, the trial comes to me and says, "Hey man, I really want to play my hunter." Go figure, right? And obviously he can't do that here, so he quit. He just quit on us. And so we Genshin and I never spoke about it. We just let that setup time go, and instead we just got crippling addicted to PoE2, and yeah, just kind of came and went. But I was all prepared to have a heart to heart with him about requirements and necessary choices and whatnot, and it just never mattered. So, um, Janchi, despite all the time we play spending other games together, you do still bring Tim in here, and you guys are just the brain rot duo from hell. So for that, Janchi, unfortunately, I gotta bump you down to D tier, bud. Sorry about that. Alrighty, next up we have our first really new player to the team. Hold on, where the hell is my list? We have Neri. Neri joined us this tier. He's a mage player, which is, uh, well, a good thing now. So since he's been here, he's done a really good job. He's stepped right up into playing the mage job role quite well, and he has pushed Budamax off of mage and to tank role, which beats me, but uh, here we are. So this is Neri's fire mage with a dead Budamax in front of him because he killed the mage formerly known as Budamax. And Neri, because we fucking hate Budamax around here, and because you kicked him off a mage, you're getting an automatic bump up to A tier with Azoth. Azoth, excuse me. Hopefully, I have more to say about you next year. You just haven't been here long enough for me to have a whole lot to talk about. Alrighty, next up is our beloved hockey connoisseur himself, Mr. Range. Uh, so I always knew Bob was a hockey guy, but when we found out we were recruiting another hockey guy, he made sure to let us know which teams were not allowed. It's Detroit and it's Minnesota. Now we know. Thankfully, that wasn't an issue. But in that time, we got to learn that Bob's favorite team is the Avalanche, and so I have what I imagine Bob looks like in real life here. I assume he's just a Death Knight wearing a hockey jersey, so this is it. AI spit this out in one attempt. It was perfect. It's like, this is exactly what I wanted. um, so Bob Bob came to us a few years ago to replace an atrocious Kotank, and he's been awesome to have here since then. He's a good teammate, good attitude, despite Sour being a bit of a bully to him this tier, and putting him through the ringer with some call outs and whatnot. But Bob took it in stride and kept his calm demeanor. We appreciate that. Hopefully he can do the same next year with Bud Dad. Um, and if not, we'll kick Bud Dad out of the game. So Bob, for your consistent good attitude and good play, we are gonna throw you up to B tier. Alrighty. Moving on to the abuser himself, Mr. Sour. Here's Sour on his bear, opening his 13 vaults. Absolute crazy man. 13 weekly vaults. Insane. So most people know this who've been here for a while, but for the newer people, Sour is our secret weapon to success. He pays attention to so many little details, things that everyone else misses, and holds us all accountable for those things. He really does keep us from making dumb mistakes. And you're going to get to see that in full force this tier with him back on DPS because he's going to be watching us like a hawk. So it's going to be good for us as a raid. It's going to be bad for us as individuals because he's going to let us know when we fuck up. But overall, we're excited about that. That's what got us through a whole bunch of tiers before last tier. So ready for that. He plays the game a ton. He is always willing to help people out with mole content. I'm sure he's about to run 10 million delves for everybody, tanking keys, crafting all of our gear, crafting everything we need. We should really be thankful that he is here, and we owe him a lot. So Sour, even though you can be a little mean to your Kotick, even though I think you have earned being our first S tier raider. Good job, man. Thank you for being here. Next up, we have one of our full-time raiders, someone who's been here since day one. Why am I blind? Here we go. Okay. We got Rimkos. Now, Rimkos, you've been here since our very first mythic boss kill in Vault. That was almost 3 years ago. In those 3 years, I think you have said less than 100 words. But there was that one time where you thought you were muted and you weren't muted and you were yelling about a fork, which you explained to us was talking about chess, and that was funny for us because that was like the first time we'd ever really heard a lot from you. So when I was trying to find an image for you, the only thing I could really think of was your Orc Hunter shooting a gun and a chessboard. So this is not really a funny picture, but I thought it was kind of cool, and that's all I could come up with, I'll be honest. So yeah, you're a fucking cracked player. We love having you here. I'm always worried that you're just gonna go join Liquid or something like that, and then go play World Top 5 or some shit. But you don't. You just keep coming back, and I love it. And you're amazing. And please don't leave us. But I can only praise you for being good at this game so much. And this tier, I'm gonna hold you accountable for not talking enough and not being our friend enough, despite being here so long. And I'm gonna have to bump you down to D tier, man. We want to know more about you. Please be our friend. Come hang out more. Challenging you. If you want to be higher than D tier next time, you got to come hang out some and say words. Beligor is the only one allowed to be mute around here. Next up is someone that I did not think could exist, but a hunter that doesn't get turbo gapped by Rimkos. This is Korean. His character in game is a black dwarf, but his name is Korean. So we have a black Korean dwarf here with what I thought was a wildfire bomb. Closest thing I could find is a spiked grenade. And Korean's average parse in the background there. Uh, Korean was referred to us by a previous raider, SCK, and when right around that time, SCK decided to take a break from the game, and so I was really worried that Korean wouldn't be all that interested with our liaison quitting. But he stuck around with us, and I couldn't be more happy to have him here. It's fucking wild that we have we have two insane hunters, and it's honestly comical at times when people want to play hunter and they try and trial here even talk to me at all is crazy. But he stuck with us when SEK left, and it's been awesome. Sorry, I've lost myself in my script here. Oh, yes, a funny story about Korean. So in the middle of the tier, or I guess somewhere towards the end, or a little backstory, I guess, he used to raid with Idiot, who are an extremely good guild, and he took his alt to a friends and family raid of theirs and got CE like I don't know several weeks before we got ours. And he DM'd me, and he was really worried that people might be upset, thinking that maybe he bought it or that he maybe left or whatever the concern was. But he wanted to make sure that people on our team wouldn't be upset. And I assured him that if any of you fucking idiots were upset that he got a CE somewhere else, the answer is simply skate better. We should have been faster. And I don't know what else to tell you. But I don't think anyone was upset. So, but I appreciate the concern. I appreciate trying to be a good team player. So, yeah, thank you for that, Korean. Um, Despite what I have said here positively about you, I can't give you bonus points for being a good player because I didn't give them to Remkos, and you guys are a package deal now. So because I don't know much about you and you don't get bonus points for being a fucking cracked player, you're gonna hang out at C tier, not going anywhere. But as we get to know you, I'm sure we'll get to move you from that spot. Hopefully up, hopefully up. We'll see. Okay, next is someone that I'm going to talk about with a lot of admiration. This is our new fearless leader, Arklos. This picture is not as funny as the rest tried to be. This is more representing him and us fucking greedy beggars asking him for assignments and rocks and portals and whatever else we need, and him leading us to victory. Um, when Goif decided to take a break from the game, the future of the guild truly fell on Arklos's shoulders. I went to him and I said, "Hey, this is the situation we're in. I can't do it. I won't do it. You're gonna have to, if this keeps going, it's gonna have to be you raid leading." And without a beat, he said, "Yep, I'll do it." And I think he's done an amazing job taking that burden in stride without too many hiccups and leading us right back to CE. I can't express enough how thankful I am for how much time and effort he put in on such short notice to get us back where we were. So, Arglos, brother, thank you very much for everything you've done and continue to do. For that, you're going absolutely straight up here to the top of S tier in front of Sour. We should all be very thankful for Arglos because we would not be here without him. Alrighty. Next up, I like this picture. Okay, next up we have Ultra, skinny ass Dragon Twink. Um, he regretted playing Dragon from like probably the second week logging into the character, but he knew we needed it for a raid buff, and he did it anyways. But this is him on his little Dragon Boy logging to be a Warlock. We're there now, buddy. You can rest easy. You're back on your main. Um, we really appreciate you doing that for us. There weren't a lot of ogres recruiting at the time, so that was a big help for us to not have to worry about that raid buff and that utility. So thank you very much for that. But like most new Dragon players, you were a hover liability, so I'm kind of glad we're putting your ass back on slow Warlock. No more hovering for you. You're going to have to portal on top of people instead now. But for taking one for the team when we needed it, uh, you are going to hang on. I'm very slow at this. You're gonna get bumped up to B tier. But the obvious problem with that is that I haven't taken into account the fact that you are French Canadian. That's a red flag. So unfortunately, because of that, you're gonna have to get dropped right back down to C tier. Maybe next time try not being that anymore. I don't know. Just a thought. All right. Next up, we have another new person. Oh, you didn't see that. Wrong keybind. So this person joined us recently as well, but has been recently promoted to Raider. We got Dads. I do hate having to call him Dads. I don't know much about him, but we've recently recruited a buddy of his, and so I reached out for a little bit of help, and I was told that you love WWE wrestling, so I did my best to get your shaman holding a wrestling belt. So that's what we got here. Uh, Dads has been a great addition to our team. He's got a good attitude. He's a strong player. and we've actually tapped into some League of Legends together, which that may not be a positive thing. That may be bad for both of us, but regardless, it's been fun. Um, kind of already said this, but I do hate calling you dads. I feel like we might need to tap into a nickname. Maybe Skibo is a better option. I don't know, but we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. I don't know if I want to call you dads forever. So, but dads, because of the good play in the League of Legends, you are you're gonna get bumped up to B tier, right there with Ranger Bob. Alrighty. Next up is someone else who stepped up big time for us this tier. We've got Parsed here. So, Parsed and I have also been tapping into some League of Legends, and every time we load the game, I'm afraid that he's gonna have an aneurysm because his AD carry is dog shit, and a little worried he might just hop in his car and drive to their house if he finds out where they live. And his character wears a foam hat, shark hat in game, so that's what we got here. We got him on the cover of the news for doing something crazy. But Parse stepped up this tier to be an officer and help out with the healing assignments and whatnot, with G Quit having to step away for work, um, and just being another voice in the officer group. He's been tremendously helpful for me personally, to push me in the right decision and kind of keep keep the recruiting and roster decisions from getting into an echo chamber. There are times where I was talking myself out of something or into something that would probably have been incorrect, and he did a good job of giving me the reality check when I needed it. So I do appreciate that. Um, and he's been a solid player for us since he joined. Always willing to do what needs to be done, play whatever class needs to be played. He even played Boomkin on sticks because of how ridiculous that fight was without a Boomkin. But we really appreciate that, and I appreciate you taking on that new role really without any hesitation. So Parsed, for all of that, I can't give you all the way to the S tier, but I can put you up here in A tier with Nary and Azoth. Alrighty. Next up is actually celebrity spotting. We have our famous person, Belagor, aka Henry Cavill, or AI's best attempt at making Henry Cavill into a demon hunter. I tried. I tried so many times, man. I have like 100 iterations of this picture trying to make it more look like Henry Cavill, but I couldn't do it. So apologies for the not so likeness. But we still haven't heard a word from you, and all of the CEs you've been here. Thankfully, we didn't have any personal voice calls needed like we did on Echo. We don't like those anymore. I was talking about this a few weeks ago, but I actually don't think you've missed a single raid night since you joined us, and that consistency is truly amazing for us. I mean, not having to worry about having a Demon Hunter buff and not never having to worry about you not showing up is amazing. So we really do appreciate that, and your consistency just is insane. So thank you, thank you. But you are still a Demon Hunter, and sometimes fail rush happens. Just recently we were killing Gallywix. I think it might have been the last time, and I watched you run out with your big ring of fire, being so ethical, and then straight into a fell rush in the hole with the bomb, killing us all. And I was just like, yep, that's a conservation of greatness right there. One good play deserves an equally and opposite terrible play. So, Bella, with everything balancing out, I still one day hope to hear your voice. But until then, you're going to have to come down here into D tier, bud. Sorry about it. Alrighty. Next up is another new person. Devam, whichever you prefer. So the other day, you have your Discord set up to show your music, and you were listening to Children of Bottom, I don't know how you say it, which is some fucking disgusting heavy metal. Sorry, not disgusting as in gross, but like disgustingly heavy metal. But I fucking love that kind of stuff, so respect on that. So I didn't have much to go off of, but I put your dragon-headed helmet monk in the middle of a metal concert. That's all I could come up with. Hopefully you like it. But this tier, I don't think you know this, but we had a monk a little bit before you showed up who was an absolute nightmare. I think he had been here like 2 days, and I got several DMs from people saying, "This is not the guy. We don't like this guy. This guy sucks." and we were still really tight on players, so it was tough to fire people immediately. But you showed up at the right time, and we were able to get rid of that guy, and you stepped in, and you weren't that guy, and that was awesome. So thank you so much for being a normal person. You've been playing great. I appreciate your positive. You have given me some positive statements about how we're handling things around here, how we operate. So I really appreciate that. It's nice. It's nice to hear that kind of stuff sometimes. So really do appreciate that. In this guild, I actually used to be really classes towards monk players. Looking at you, creature and Janshi, but I think you've done a good job of deflecting that hate. We're big on Shadow Priest now. We hate those guys. Monks are in the clear. But unfortunately, having good timing and joining the guild doesn't necessarily earn you any bonus points. So Devim, you're just gonna hang out in C tier for now. Maybe next year we'll have more for you. All right, we are getting towards the end here. Next up, we have Miss. Miss still owes us a kickflip. So because of that, I have instead got his rogue here doing a kickflip, and he's also addicted to these stupid gotcha games with the horse girls. So we got some of his stable behind him, chasing him down. Miss, you've played amazing for us this tier. We're very happy to have you. I know you were in trial purgatory for a long time leading into this tier, so I appreciate you rolling with that for as long as you did. I think I know you know it wasn't a personal thing. We just had a lot going on, so appreciate the understanding, leading us to where we are now. But unfortunately, man, this gotcha game shit that you and Galabar are on just creeps me out. And for that alone, you know where you're going. You're going right down here with Galabon and Pancake tier. Okay, so next up is G-Quit. Every time I see a raccoon now, G-Quit, I only think of you. Real life, picture, TikTok, whatever it is. I'm like, I should send that to G-Quit. I don't, but I think about it. Um, so G-Quit likes to tell me that I do fucked up and evil things when I play Magic the Gathering with him. So in order to get this here image, I typed fucked up and evil raccoon priest, and this was the first thing that popped out, and I thought this couldn't be better. So here you are, G-Quit, a fucked up and evil priest. I hope you like it. G knew his new job this tier was going to be an issue for his consistency with raiding, so he stepped down from the officer role and sort of stepped away from the main raid roster. But he has played the game and been around enough that he actually was in on several prog fights early for us and was able to fill in when we needed him. And that has been so awesome for us. We've been low on healers this whole tier, and we've been trialing people in and out. We've been losing people left and right, and he has been there to back us up and save us when we were down. So Cheequid, you've been amazing, and we really couldn't have done it without you. Probably would have missed days here and there, or had, who knows, maybe Wandale would have had to come out of being level 70 way sooner. But thank you very much for sticking with us, even though your real life has gotten a little different, and you don't really have all the time in the world now. But thank you for helping us out when we needed it. You are a great teammate. And so for all of that, G, we're gonna move you up here into B tier. Alrighty. Next up is yours truly, but it felt weird ranking myself, so I've got G-Quid here with me to make a guest appearance, and he is going to rank me. And G-Quid has done my AI art for myself, so here is G-Quid's interpretation of me, and I'll let him take it away.
Yeah, so if you know Vantes, you know this guy's basically a Death Knight one trick. Not so much anymore, but yeah. So we got the DK motif going on, magic cards on the table, and if you've ever played League with Vaughn, you know he is a Rumble one trick. Thankfully, though, Rumble's been nerfed into the ground, so he has to play different champs. For Fontes, though, I did go back and forth a little bit on where I thought he deserved to fall in the tier list. on one hand, he could be towards the top because I guess some people might consider his contributions positive. Not me. On the other hand, he could be at the bottom considering he has this affliction that causes him to explain in really painful detail how he died, no matter the context. We could be raiding, we could be out playing Magic. He'll give you a 20-minute breakdown of exactly what caused him to die. Ultimately, though, and definitely not because of any gold bribery, I am going to place him at B tier. He does have a positive impact on the raid group and the guild as a whole, but that's mostly because he just reminds us constantly that we're broke, and of course, I guess he helps with loot. You probably do know that he helps with loot because he always bitches about having to do loot council. If Vantes wants a shot at a higher tier, I think there's probably 3 things he could do. First, give me more gold the next time we do a tier list. Second, die in silence for once. And lastly, ban Tim from the Discord. Again, I think those are pretty easy things for you to do if you want to move up and maybe even be considered a god amongst men. But thank you for everything, Vantes. I think in all seriousness, you do a lot for the guild, and I appreciate you kind of letting me stick around. Even though, like you mentioned earlier, my work schedule's changed, it's been nice to be able to come in and help every now and then. Looking forward to the next time I'm back down south so we can play Magic again at Super, where I'm sure you will explain in excruciating detail how you died after I killed you, despite you being absolutely no threat to me or anyone else at the table.
Thank you very much. I left a good bit at most of that. Alrighty. So, last and almost certainly least, we have everybody's favorite, Budamax.
Look, overall, I'm going to be honest, this was not a good tier for Budamax. I just want to make sure there's no ambiguity about this. I can't even believe that he was allowed back in the guild. My little spaghetti boy just giggle maxed his ass through every single encounter. He spent the entire tier complaining. He spent the entire tier doubting himself, and none of that is new. But now we have to listen to him talk about mourning being a vibe instead of it being a predefined thing, and sighing dramatically every time someone mentions PoE. You know, the stupid sigh that he does. It's like, you know what I'm talking about. Do you really not remember what we did to the entire server during like the Slay the Spire era? That was all because of you and me, and mostly because of you, because you had to ask questions about everything. So we deserve this. Now we're gonna let this guy tank. The only thing he's ever successfully tanked is Bob's morale, and now we're gonna put him right by Bob. Bob is a man of stoicism and discipline, and now we're gonna have he's gonna listen to Budamax going tee hee every time a taunt swap is needed, or even worse, like the oh man, that shit when he dies. Bob's gonna die more this tier just from like pure psychic damage from tanking by Budamax. It's gonna be way worse than the shit with Sour this tier, I promise. Get ready for like Gigglemax to be just completely untethered. You're gonna hear it. You're gonna regret letting him tank. I promise. You guys are gonna like be begging for Goyf to tank within a month. Do not let him play Demon Hunter either. Some of my fondest memories of hanging out in Discord or watching Buddha's dumbass jump into a pack as a Demon Hunter and just die instantly, and then ask me to watch him play to give him tips. There's no tips, bud. You got to press Demon Spikes. I don't know what to tell you. But anyways, last night I was hanging out in Discord, talking to several people, trying to get some ideas for this entire tier list, right? For talking about my boy Buddha, and I was hanging out with his new dad, Neri, and I was trying to make sure I got a good scoop for how he felt and other people felt about how Buddha's performance this tier. We were talking about like your take on mourning, and we were chatting about like the new patch and the new legendary cloak, how he thought it was going, how he liked the guild. He told me a story about like how Goose followed him home from the park recently. And we talked about like if frogs understood irony, stuff like that. It's like 45 minutes deep into the conversation, just like old times. And then Neri got really, really quiet. He just stopped talking for like 30 seconds. I didn't even know if he was still there. And I hear him like breathe really, really, really deep. And he says, "Hey, can I ask you something?" And I said, "Yeah, of course." And then he sighed, got a big sigh, knew something was coming. He says, he asked me, "I don't like Budamax. Fuck Budamax. He's C tier because he's cute."
All right. Well, that is the last raider, current raider, to see the tier list. But I do have one honorable mention. You may notice that one of the tiers doesn't look like the rest, and I felt like it was only fair because they were here all the way through CE that I include Alara's in our tier list. And Alara's, for being always fucking dead on the ground on Gallywix, you get to be Pancake tier 2. Alright, everybody. That is the end of the Skate Better Liberation of Undermine tier list. Thank you all very much for being here. I truly, truly do love playing the game with all of you. Can't wait to do it again this tier and many more after that. Um, yeah, thank you all again. See you all soon to do all the delves and dungeons that we have to do. Bye bye.